I used to run the other way when someone wanted to talk about planned giving. It seemed complicated, confusing, and quite honestly, boring. Leave that to some lawyer, was my thinking. But then I started thinking about it through the donor's viewpoint. I mean, think about it. A donor loves your mission. They want to leave a legacy behind to show that love. Why wouldn't you have a robust planned giving program available for them to easily make that planned gift? You would. In today's podcast, Richard and I announced that Veritus is adding, developing, and managing a planned giving program to our major gift offerings. And we're talking with renowned planned giving expert and the new Veritus Director of Planned Giving, Robert Shafis. We'll talk about what is wrong today in planned giving and how Veritus is out to help nonprofits make it simpler and easier to implement. Join us for this lively discussion on what's wrong with planned giving and what to do about it.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritus Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising, so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Welcome to the podcast today. I have Richard Perry with me. And Richard, today we're going to talk about something a little different.
A little bit.
Planned giving.
Oh, I love
that. Yep, that's right. So we all know that's the last mile of the major gift pipeline. We're all about helping a donor give a legacy gift.
That's right. Well, until just now, we really haven't talked much about planned giving, namely
major gifts.
Because at Veritus, we've been focused on mid and major gifts. But so many of our clients and blog subscribers have been saying to us, hey, can't you guys do the same, same thing that you're doing with major gifts and apply that to planned giving?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, I think we could. But we don't really have the technical expertise. I know. Until now.
I know. And I guess I would say the last couple of years now, we've been looking for someone at Veritus who not only had the technical expertise as it relates to the planned giving stuff, but also embodied the same donor-centered relationship building approach as we did.
Yep.
And, that wasn't easy.
No, we've been looking for that person for 3 or 4 years. Literally, we've been like scouring around.
Yeah. But now we're happy to say we found that person.
Yeah.
And with that, let's introduce our new Director of Planned Giving at Veritus Group, Bob Shafis. Bob, welcome to the podcast.
Hi there. Richard, Jeff, how you doing today?
We're doing great.
We're doing good. It's really great to have you aboard, Bob. Honestly.
Well, both of you have said some version of to me, this is going to be fun, and I am 100% behind that.
That's good.
All right. Okay, let's get into this, Bob. So many nonprofits, they don't have a planned giving or state giving program. Tell me, why is that? What's going on?
I think with a lot of organizations, they're a little intimidated by it. They see taxes and estate planning and financial planning, and that tends to scare people away. And sometimes organizations think they need lawyers to run their planned giving program. And, really you don't. It's not as difficult and as scary as you think it is. And that's one of the things that we hope with the Veritus Group to be able to solve the problem for with organizations.
So so now let's just stop on that point. I've always thought you need lawyers. Why wouldn't you need lawyers, Bob? Really?
What you need is a good fundraiser. And so, as Jeff said, I think earlier on, that this is part of the major gift pipeline, the end of the major gift pipeline. You need to know enough about planned giving to be able to communicate it effectively, but you don't need to be the attorney for the donor. What you need to be is somebody who can say to the donor, we really need your support, and here are some really interesting and tax-wise ways of being able to do that.
So is that because I've heard that whole lawyer thing for 1,000 years. Is that the old way of thinking about it? Or why do people say that? Or why is there an understanding about that?
I think that organizations are often trying to find the best way to talk to their donors about the organization and about the opportunities within the organization. Mm-hmm. But you don't need to be hyper complex about that. In fact, I've talked to some attorneys and I've said to them, have you communicated this fairly complex concept, whatever it might be, to your clients? And they've said yes, but after about 30 seconds, their eyes glaze over. Mm-hmm. And what you need to do is to be able to communicate plan giving in a way that motivates and excites the donor and doesn't overwhelm them with tax concepts or arcane financial ideas that really don't get to what is interesting to the donor. And what's interesting to the donor is the charity that they love.
Yeah. Exactly. So tell me, what do you think, what is the problem in our industry when it comes to nonprofits trying to build plan giving programs?
Well, sometimes it's lack of investment. Sometimes they just think that they can do this, but combine it with some other functions that are happening within the organization. Mm-hmm. So nothing really gets funded effectively. Kind of a flip side of that is organizations that are actually spending a fair amount of money on the plan giving program, but it's focused in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. It's generating a lot of leads, but they're not following up on them. Or alternatively, they're spending a lot of money on plan giving marketing ideas, brochures, direct mail, things like that. And it's not really effectively getting new plan giving prospects and leads to the organization. So there's kind of a number of different problems, and it depends on the organization.
Yeah, I mean, so, here at Veritus, we're talking about, major gifts, and we say, you've got to have a qualified caseload. Mm-hmm. Donors that you've reached out to, you've made some connection with, that says, hey, yes, we want a deeper relationship with you. Now, what's happening in the plan giving side? Isn't it the same principle?
A lot of it is, and a lot of organizations, if you do, for example, some type of plan giving screening, you'll find out that there are a lot of individuals in an organization's donor base who look like they ought to be really good plan giving prospects. But sometimes those numbers are so daunting. There's so many names to get through that it's difficult for the plan giving officer to really get through the names and get to the people who are the most likely to make a plan gift to the organization. And so part of what I think that Veritus Group is going to be able to do is to help organizations identify who those highest likelihood of making a plan gift prospects are, so that the plan giving officer doesn't have to spend their time going through hundreds and hundreds of names, but actually they can focus on the people who have the greatest potential for doing a plan gift and really build relationships and learn what it is that makes those people tick. Yeah. Because when you're doing plan giving, it's not only the issue of what they feel about the charity and what motivates them within the charity. You also have to start talking to them about where they are personally, with their family, with their financial plans, with their estate plans, and how this charity can fit into that overall planning process.
So it seems like, Bob, what you're saying is that the approach that we're going to be taking, or that we are taking with our clients on this plan giving thing in the coming months and years ahead, is going to be one that makes a more efficient use of the plan giving officer, because in most situations the plan giving officer is doing work that he or she should not be doing. Which is like going through all of these leads and qualifying them and all that.
I know. I mean, you think about it, a plan giving office, you're paying them quite a bit of money.
Yeah. They're
and you're asking them to take hundreds of donors sometimes.
Sift through them.
Figure it out. And that's like, how much time are they wasting on that? I mean, there needs to be a middle person there qualifying those donors, understanding, okay, yes, this person really does, and then bring them to the plan giving officer.
And that's the whole system Bob is going to be putting in place in terms of how you do all of that.
That's right.
Would you say, Bob?
Right. That is the most efficient way right now to work with the plan giving program. If you have lots of potential leads, either existing in your database or produced through more effective marketing efforts, by making sure that somebody in the organization is going through those names, vetting them, and then bumping them up to the plan giving officer, who actually is the one who's going to build those relationships and build that cultivation process. That's the best way to make sure that plan giving is done effectively.
Yeah. Now, another problem in our industry about this whole thing in plan giving is what happens after you said, quote unquote, book a gift. You get an agreement and stewarding that donor, because it's not happening.
Right. And I spent the early years of my career saying that probably about 90% of all planned gifts, once they're put in a will actually take place. But now there's some new data that shows that it's really probably closer to only 50%.
Really? 50%?
And so what's the reason? The reason? The reason is that people, once they create that planned gift, they create a bequest, they create a clause in a living trust, and they tell the charity about it. And then the charity just basically communicates to them with a newsletter or some direct marketing piece. They don't do the real work of stewardship, which is the key element to making sure that planned gift takes place.
Well, I mean, this is interesting because the way our system is set up in the nonprofit world around planned gifts, performance reporting, and what makes is that, okay, they've booked all these gifts.
Yeah, how many did you get?
Right.
What's the number?
And so that's where everyone is focused at.
Yeah.
They're not about, well, how did it actually come in? Well, so they are all about booking, but they're not about nurturing the relationship and thinking, gosh, we've still got to be part of their lives and understand who they are and make them feel like they're part of this organization.
Well, that's why I mean, Jeff, we're really thankful that Bob has that orientation, because it's like, and it's the philosophy that we've run Veritus on from the very beginning is, if you actually love and care about this donor, really, you're going to be with them through the whole life cycle when they're with you with the organization, versus what a lot of nonprofits do, where they book the person on the planned giving and then ignore them for 10, 15 years and then are upset when they're lost. I mean, Bob, and that's kind of what happens, isn't it?
Yeah. And people need to feel closely connected to an organization that they've already made a serious commitment to. And the only way to really effectuate that is to make sure that your organization has a good stewardship plan, has a really thoughtful process to making sure that people feel like they're still connected to the organization and that they really know what's going on behind the scenes.
I mean, if you didn't have that stewardship thing in place, it really is telling the donor, we just care about the money. We don't actually care about you, because once you said yes, then you're done. Yeah. We're done with you.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same problem we have in the major gift world. Yeah. Too. It's like if all you care about the money, you will more than likely lose that donor, which Bob is saying. You're going to, there's a 1 out of 2 chances that you're going to lose the planned giving donor.
All right. So let's reiterate again what that problem is. First, lack of investment in program. I mean, so many nonprofits look at it like, well, if we invest in it now, we're not going to see anything probably 15 years from now. So why would we even invest in it now? We have too many pressing needs. So there's a whole lack of investment. Or there's all this investment on just getting leads, because that's like important. Like, we'll get all these leads and that'll just translate into a bunch of gifts. But no one's following up on leads. Yeah. We see it in the trash can.
Yep.
They're the leads.
Or they have a staffing plan that's wrong.
Yeah.
And let's put everything onto the plan giving officer.
That's right.
Instead of like having some other stewardship qualification people involved in there, so the plan giving officer is actually talking to donors.
Right. And then a whole lack of stewardship. We book the gift, boom, we're done. So that's in a nutshell the problem.
Well, I mean, and I think Bob would also, you would add that there's performance metrics that are either non-existent or are not wrong or not right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, talk about that, the performance metrics.
Well, that's really important, because I think that there's a delicate balance between performance metrics that you would think of in terms of a sales process, a common sales process, and the performance metrics that are necessary in plan giving, where there is a longer cultivation table, a longer time that is required to find out the real connections that the organization has with the donor, and to also find out what the donor's situation is, so that you can, put together an effective plan giving proposal for them. But a lot of organizations have kind of backed away on the plan giving side from doing some really effective metrics. Not 100% sure exactly why. I think it may be some of the plan giving is scary and I don't understand it kind of dynamic. But it may also be that they simply haven't processed through the whole concept of metrics and how they apply to the fundraising work of a plan giving professional. So one of the things that we hope to be doing with Veritus Group is to really help organizations figure out what those metrics need to be for their organization, and then implement that.
Yep. And then, one other last problem is, things are changing all the time. Laws are changing and expertise around that. And so we see a lot of plan giving programs not actually at full capacity because they haven't kept up with technology and all kinds of different things.
Yep.
Especially in the lead generation area, there is all kinds of new technology that is so much more effective than just, sending out that newsletter, every quarter and trying to generate leads that way.
The whole hard copy newsletter, direct mail approach, I've used for my whole career, which is a relatively long career. And I've seen the responses on those type of marketing pieces go down and down and down over the years. But the most effective marketing that's being done right now is some of the cutting edge marketing that's being done with survey processes, online, in email, in social media. And as you said, things change so fast that it's sometimes hard to keep track of what is effective, because what was effective last year may not be effective this year. But there are some really great ideas going on out there. And that goes back to the whole lead generation issue. That is where lead generation is really going to take off, which is with new technologies and new cutting edge ideas.
So let me ask you a question about that, Bob, because here's how people think about that. And certainly this is until I got educated about it. Here's how I was thinking about it. One, plan giving is for old people. Two, old people don't use digital, social media, any of that stuff. So why are you talking about all that? Because that doesn't even work.
Well, I don't think that is actually borne out by what's going on in the world. A few years ago, one of the fastest growing groups on one of the social media platforms was women 55 and older. We find more and more individuals of all ages having direct mail. We find them joining all kinds of groups on social media. And so it just makes sense that that's where you need to go in order to contact new people for your organization.
Yep. All right. So I think we've hammered the problem. Let's move to what's the solution.
And what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
Right.
Well, I think Veritus Group has some really interesting ideas on how to address those issues. Because what we will do is start with an assessment of the current program for an organization. And we want to make sure that there's a healthy and aggressive lead generation program in place so that we're using the best practices and the best methods available in order to reach people, whether that's digitally or through some type of hard copy or other process. We want to work with the nonprofits to make sure their staffing solution is correct. We want to help select, train. We can co-manage the plan giving staff which is going to include the plan giving officer, and to work with all those leads that have been generated by the organization and make sure that the plan giving staff, whether that's a plan giving officer or a mid-level plan giving person, is actually getting to all the names that have been generated.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to be in a situation where names are coming in and the plan giving staff is not getting to them. And so they just languish there and they never get the kind of service that they really need. So we want to make sure that the whole lead generation process is being handled properly, that we're identifying the people who have existing plan gifts, the people who have the highest potential for doing new plan gifts, and for those people who have done a plan gift that we know about, that there's an effective stewardship process put in place. And one of the things that at Veritus Group we can do is also make sure that we are bringing to our clients what's different, what's new in terms of laws, in terms of marketing approaches, in terms of technology. I think there are a lot of charities right now that may not know that on January 1st, the charitable gift annuity rates are going to change. That's been announced by the American Council on Gift Annuities. And that's the type of thing that every charity needs to know, because when things like that happen, that is a really great marketing opportunity to be able to communicate to your donors that that their gift annuity rates, they can tie in higher gift annuity rates right now, and to make sure that they know how plan giving rules change from time to time.
I think also you would say, Bob, that we can also add to that is doing strategic planning to show how to manage these donors. Forecasts. I mean, I've not. I mean, we're thinking about and actually planning for developing forecasts so that you can go in and say, okay, given these kind of donors on your database, and given these factors, I, Robert Shafis, can actually say, this is what the potential is over the next 5 to 10 years in your organization. I mean, who provides that kind of forecast?
No, I know. No one's doing
I
that.
think the data's out there to be able to help us look at the database of an organization and to be able to say, this is what your potential is, and this is how it will roll out. And this is how perhaps even it will distribute out over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, so you can get some ideas to what the actual effect of your plan giving program will be.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that, because one of the things that Jeff and I really hold very strongly to is being data driven. In other words, it's not some consultant coming in and saying, well, no, this is where you can be. And just trust me because I've had this experience. No, this is what the data is actually saying.
That's right.
And so that's what we're going to be doing in plan giving as well. What's the data saying? What's the best practice? What additional stuff should we do in terms of the digital media, the social media? How should we do a different staffing plan?
Exactly.
All of that.
And then once you have the staff, have really going through a qualifying process with those leads, having a qualified portfolio of plan giving donors, having a plan for those donors, just like we do in major gifts.
Right.
But then helping the plan giving officer stay accountable to the plans and the goals that they set with those donors.
The whole performance evaluation.
I mean, I don't know anywhere else that anyone's doing that.
No.
And that's what's been missing for so long. There has not been that accountability and coaching and training and coming alongside those PGOs to help them be successful.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to be about.
It's all about follow through.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, and a lot of plan giving marketing firms will say, we will generate these names for you. Great. That's wonderful. But now what happens?
Exactly.
Well, now they say, you got your names, see you later. What we are going to do is say, well, you've got the names. Now let's create a strategic plan for each one of those names, figure out what the process is to get to a solicitation, and just as importantly, and more complexly, if that's a word, in plan giving,
it is now,
is the closing process. Because often in plan giving, that's going to involve a professional advisor, the members of the family, a financial planner, people like that. And those people all need to be brought into the process in order to get to the point where the person has actually closed the gift.
So, okay, what you're saying here is, just as we've developed this structure for major gifts and mid-level, we can do this with plan giving. Mm-hmm. We're going to be able to help those PGOs stay accountable with the strategy, with their plans.
And be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what everybody wants, including the plan giving officer.
This is why I'm so excited about this.
I know.
And why Bob is the guy to lead this, because he's totally embraced this. And we've been looking for this with his expertise, the technical side, and just he holds the same philosophy as we do about these donors and how to build it and have that structure.
And how to care about them throughout the whole life cycle with the organization.
Yeah. You said it's something that the plan giving officer cares about. It's also something that the donor cares about.
Exactly.
You're really asking the donor to do some, really extra work in order to do something meaningful for the charity that they are really involved in. And by helping them get through that closing process, it's kind of like holding their hands as they go along through this whole thing, which can sometimes be a little stressful for the donor, because you're talking in terms of meeting with lawyers and financial professionals and all that sort of stuff. But by making sure through Veritus Group that we're actually making sure that the plan giving staff is making that effort correctly, that is the way to really well serve the donor as well as the fundraising program.
Exactly. So, Bob, let's just quickly tell folks here what exactly is the steps that we're going to create? What is the scope of work that we're going to do for organizations? So lead us through that little process of what would you do if you would say, you know what, I really like what they're saying. I think I want them to come help us. What do we do?
Well, the first thing we need to do is to do some work with the organization to discover what they have in their database, what they have currently available for their donors, how they will be able to manage plan gifts within the organization, and how the staff is working effectively or not working effectively in that whole area.
So it's a whole little assessment.
Yeah, whole discovery call. Yeah.
Whole discovery call, and then to make a request for the appropriate data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's all kinds of different aspects to the data, some segmentations and some other things that we would want to be able to look at so that we can apply what we know as the most likely possibilities for effective plan gifts within that database.
Yeah.
So we will come back with an analysis that says, we think that given what information you've shown us, we can project that there will be X number of plan gifts within your database existing already. Who are the people that we think have the highest potential for plan gifts in the future? And what is that going to turn into now in terms of a revenue forecast? Yep. Is this going to work in a way that really builds the organizational revenue? And we can develop the metrics, the structure, and everything that can help make that happen. So we've been talking about metrics. If there are metrics within the organization, we can work with those. But more often than not, we're going to find that we probably need to do a little help in order to make sure that each staff person is being effectively measured against, really important metrics that will deal with getting a plan gift to be solicited and closed. We'll also work then with the plan giving officer and the plan giving staff to make sure that not only do they know what their goals and objectives and their metrics are, but they are working their portfolio in a way that makes sure that they're going to do what they say they're going to do and to stay accountable to that process.
Exactly.
And then from there, measure their performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
At that point, you know what your metrics are. You know what the person has been doing. Now let's take a look and see how they've been effective, where they've been effective, what areas they need to work on more, and how that whole process has worked for the organization.
That's going to be awesome.
That it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to work.
It is
so well.
It's going to work. It's going to be a whole value add to the nonprofit sector to do this plan.
Exactly. So if we piqued your interest, we'd love to be able to provide you a free plan giving assessment. And the way to do that is to go to veritusgroup.com, and there's going to be a button on the front page of our website that says free plan giving assessment. Hit that, and you're going to go to a page that's going to give you all the information you need to be able to do that assessment. So please reach out to us, and we will immediately contact you because we want to start that process with you.
Exactly.
So, Bob, thanks for joining us. Obviously, we're going to have you on many, many times to talk about the different aspects, but we wanted to immediately start giving the broad view of what this Veritus way of plan giving is all about and how you're going to lead us through this. So thank you for joining us today.
And thanks for joining our team. We're really, really pleased to have you on board.
Yeah.
Thank you. And like you guys said, this is going to be fun.
It is.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritus Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritusgroup.com. Please join us again next time.